So today's title is How to Become a Powerfully Masculine and Attractive Man. Zan's all about appreciating the beauty of women, whilst Brian's all about being grounded and a container for the feminine. How did you both meet each other, and what drew you to each other? Brian, would you like to start?
Sure, gladly. It's interesting. It's an interesting question. My mind had to go back a little bit. We actually met at a party in Manhattan Beach, I believe it was, or Hermosa Beach, randomly, many years ago. And I don't think we really hung out or saw each other for many years later. And then I called Zan for a project that I was doing here. It had to do with a little a filming project about alternative relationships and so forth, and I wanted to have him as on the panel of this project, was a potential TV show, to have his opinion and his input on it. And he came out, and we've been hanging out ever since. I shortly after he described Bucharest to me, and it sounded like this amazing place. So I flew out to Bucharest, spent some time with him, and went to an amazing New Year's Eve party, and I've connected with him. So that's, and was there a second part to that question?
No, it's just like, how did you both meet? I'd like, obviously, is Zan, you agree? Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I think that's true. Like, I can't remember how long ago we met, Brian. It was like in the early days, huh?
Yeah.
And,
wow.
and then in the last three years or so, is when we did that TV pilot thing, wasn't it?
Right. It's probably about 3 years ago.
I don't remember dates and times in any way whatsoever. I have no clue. But yeah, it's been about that. And you've been to Bucharest many times since, and I've seen you in different parts of the world since then.
Yeah, we seem to keep ever since then. We run into each other all the time now.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's kind of, it's interesting because that's kind of a life I even dreamed up as part of my reality, is traveling the world, running into friends that are world travelers all over the place, and it's interesting that's not just manifested with you; it's manifested with a lot of friends in my life. What I love about it is when going back to something I really enjoy about you is you've always had that gypsy lifestyle, or pirate lifestyle, as you call it. You're just traveling the world and you're enjoying it all. The world is your playground.
And it's interesting because I've been resident in Bucharest for the last number of years, like 5 years that I rented apartments here. And I think to myself, man, I don't travel like I used to. And then I look back where I've been in the last 6 months. I've been in like 7 or 8 different countries in the last 6 months. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I do kind of still travel, but not like I used to.
Yeah. Well, you have a home base you go back to all the time.
Yeah, I have an apartment here, and then I wander out from here all the time. So yeah.
And that's the way I've always done it. And there's a little part of me that loves the idea of the full, I don't know where I'm going to be next month lifestyle too. It's kind of interesting. I'm sure that had to be a fascinating journey for all the time you did it. So,
So, Brian, what do you like about Zan's beingness and what it teaches men?
Well, I was really intrigued by Zan early on when I was learning. Zan was coaching when I was still figuring this stuff out. And I remember your first original DVD series, Zan. That was 40 and I got so much value out of watching that. And a large reason I got so much value out of it, and the same reason I get so much value out of his book, The Alabaster Girl, which is an amazing book, is because Zan, in the way you teach and the way he teaches, he's not talking about the way to be. He's not giving the 5 steps to the way to be or the 3 steps to this techniques. He's being it. And he's being it in the way he talks in camera and the way he writes. And you don't need the steps, because you pay attention to the way he makes you feel, or the way he makes other people feel, and the way he communicates, and the artistry with which he chooses his words, but not just the words, the feeling behind the words, and the way he presents himself. He's modeling it all the time. And it's a beautiful thing, Zan, to watch you do that, because I think there's a lot of us teachers out there that can tell you about how to be and the techniques to get there. But there's not a lot of teachers that just directly be it in front of you for you to just experience. And
well, that's very kind, Brian. I mean, like I was just telling you this before that you pushed record here, that I was in Vancouver recently, and I found some old external hard drives that I haven't looked at or cracked open in over a decade. And I found on there videos and pictures from my 20s and my 30s and my 40s. And remarkably, when you look back, you think, wait a minute, because it's a panorama of like experiences and women around me. And when you're in it, you don't recognize it, you know? It's like, and guys say to me, well, when is that epiphany? When do you get these moments of understanding? But the remarkable thing is, while you're on the journey of trying to discover things, you never feel like you're in it or you've understood anything until you look back to where you were a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you think, what? Wow. Like, how have I changed? I've changed so much since that guy. I don't even recognize that guy. And so you only recognize it when you, in retrospect, when you look back, and say, wait a minute, I had a kind of a life like that already. And I kind of already did that. And but you don't see it while you're in it. So amazing.
Would you go back and ask, like, looking back at those pictures, would you go back and advise yourself or give yourself, a little tips? What would they be?
You know what? I'll tell you this. In my 20s, I was so lost and lonely. Like, my story is pretty well known, but I came out of the forest around 18, 19 years old. And in my 20s, I was really socially inept and lost and insecure and scratching my head and trying to figure it out. But I constantly was trying to date girls and be with girls and stuff. And I look back in those videos of me in the 20s, and all I could think is, man, if only you knew, if only you knew the vitality and the energy and the youthfulness you had and the possibilities, because I didn't know there's any possibilities whatsoever. And it's incredible. So like, that was like, my whole journey has been trying to teach that young me how to represent himself, basically. Incredible.
And just going back to Brian and his philosophy and how he teaches, have you picked anything up from him along the way which has changed your approach to how you work?
Yeah, Brian has spent his entire career. I'm guessing this, Brian. Really trying to understand the presence. I know that word is thrown around so much, but the concept of presence. Like, the way I see it, the way I say it is this. Like the dating age of society, Western society, generally follows the economic age. So we had, the Enlightenment. We had all this, various ages, until we get up into, the concept of the information age, which is what we're all in this generation's information age. And our dating life has matched that completely. Like, our dating life in the last 20 years has been all information. How much information can you consume? How many books can you read? How many programs can you take? How many DVDs can you watch? We've disseminated dating information, and it's abundant out there. Every kind of little tiny little thing, technique, or whatever is on YouTube for free. And so we've kind of come to the end of the information age in my mind, and the information age when it comes to dating. And what Brian has been talking about is taking all the information that guys have packed in their heads. Everybody watching this video has read those self-help books, have taken a weekend intensive, have had a life coach. They've had all this information packed. And the next phase, and what Brian has been doing these years and leading up to, is to take that information and to thunk it down into our body, so that we now have a vibration on this level, as opposed to here we're massively informed, and yet nobody has shifted. And so it's like the concept is to change from information to transformation. Transformation is a word that's thrown around a lot too, but transformation is something that doesn't happen, to be frank. And so that's the shift that's going to happen with the information. Nobody needs more information. They need the experiential understanding of the kind of stuff Brian's doing. So Brian's work is all I don't know a better way to say it. It's a vibration. It's how to shift the vibration of somebody as they move through the world.
So leading on from there, why do you think men struggle with relationships and, and what they want with women?
Oh man, you asking me or Brian?
I'll ask you first, seeing as we've just gone on from Brian's practice.
Well, I think there's a lot of there's been a lot of commentators on that, and in fact, that's the biggest conversation we have is the war of the sexes, and men are lost, and women and women or men feel like they've lost power and they need to take it back, and the women are saying that they're anyway. It's an entire social discourse that I kind of sidestep. And I don't talk politically. I don't talk on this kind of social, gender fluid and all this kind of stuff. I don't want to address it at all, not because I don't think any of it's important or relevant today, but because I'm going to think about other things. So I think, men have, I don't know, we've lost their, how do I say it in one sense? We've lost their warrior spirit and the beauty of our sexual desire. We're ashamed of it. And we're taught that it should be a shameful thing. And, men are one step away from being rapists. And you walk near a playground and you're a pedophile. And in our Western society, and that's what, kind of the tone that is taken. And I think it's a sin. And so, I could talk about that for a long time, but completely emotionally handcuffed.
Brian, do you have any opinions on that? On what Jan?
I agree with everything Zan just said. And when I ask myself, how did we get like this? If we go back, picture a village, a primitive village. And what was it that would make a man attracted to a woman in a primitive village? And it was his ability to really basically pull your hair, yes. Drag you along.
Can't hear anything. Can't hear anything falling out.
So, it's his ability to handle the shit when the shit hits the fan. I mean, if she's going to survive and her babies are going to survive in primitive times when life was more rough, when we didn't have all the protection of modern society, she needed a man that could stay conscious, present, and aware while dealing with high amounts of tension in difficult situations. So he could hunt without getting himself killed. He could build structures without getting himself killed. He could, if there was problems in the village, he could handle them in a present way without getting himself killed. He's not too scared to do anything, and he doesn't charge in with his head down and get his head chopped off. And that man that was the most present under the most amount of tension and pressure, which is something I love to talk about, the ability for a man to stay present while handling difficult situations, was very valuable to a woman. And her was naturally attracted to him, just like men were attracted to women for certain reasons. We've come to modern society, the industrial age hits, and what happens? Women don't need men for those reasons apparently anymore. They don't appear to, women are saying, I don't need you to protect me anymore. I don't need you to handle all this shit anymore. I can do it myself. And that's men starting to feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. Where's my value to women? And we're going through this phase of men refiguring that out. And what they don't realize is something Zan said years ago in one of his 4 DVDs was, he said, by the nature of being male, you have value to women. And this is what they didn't realize. And you said it in a more artful way, but than I said it just now, and I can't remember the exact words, but what men didn't realize back then was by the nature of just being male and masculine, they thought they needed to provide, they needed to protect, they needed to literally do these things. And what they didn't realize is conveying the energy of those, even though they're not needed anymore, was enough to turn a woman on. And they're figuring that out now, that as we're going through this evolution from this guy who did these things to a guy who's lost, he joining the hippie movement and flowing his whole life and being lost his whole life, back to a guy who embodies these qualities with non-attachment now. I don't have to go out and hunt anymore. I don't have to go out and kill and fight, but I can still be that solid container when we're on a date. And when you leave the date, you go and be your own masculine, and fight the world yourself. Maybe you're the CEO of a huge company. But oftentimes, most women want to surrender to that beautiful feminine when they're relating to a man in the dance of the masculine and feminine. and they want to be able to hand all that over to a man who can make sure that, you know, simple things, he's guiding, he's leading, doing all the stuff he might have demonstrated that her ancestors needed to survive, but now it's more of a dance. And today it's done in much simpler ways, you know, picking her up and walking, you know, making sure she's safe when she walks down the street so she doesn't get hit by a puddle from a car going by, or somebody comes up. This literally happened to Dave. He was on a date, my business partner, and some guy came aggressively towards them. He just stepped in between them and said, "Hey, what's up?" And the woman so appreciated that because he was being the masculine in that moment. It goes back. See how you smiled even when I said that? And it goes back to that energy. And so by the nature of him just being male in the ritual that we call dating, really a ritualized version of those old energies is what turns us on. And getting back to that and enjoying that without saying, I have to control every aspect of your life by doing this. I can surrender that. Matter of fact, you may be better at doing some of this stuff when I'm not around than I am, and I'm okay with that. And I may have a huge artistic flowing side where I feel all these emotions, which is also awesome. So I think the new version of masculine and feminine is going to be better than the old, because now we can move between the two and we can dance. And he may go to work and be an artist all day. She may be the CEO of a company, but then when they come together as male, female, if she wants to be the feminine and he wants to be the masculine, they go back to the polarity for the time they're together, while they're dancing together in their dates or on their night out or they're in their intimate moment. And that's what keeps everything alive. Mm-hmm. And so from that place, it's about, once you're in that solid place of the masculine, then it's about being the witnesser, you know, the masculine witnesses. And that's what I think Zan has got down so beautifully, is his book so teaches you how to witness the feminine from that masculine. Mm-hmm. And when the feminine is witnessed and protected and it just comes to life right in front of you and starts dancing for you. And I think it's beautiful. And Zan could probably talk a little bit more about that if he wants. But
I think you said it perfectly. You absolutely said it perfectly, Brian.
Yeah. Okay, to switch the room on us and talk about subcommunication, how men reject women subconsciously. Can you guys elaborate on that?
Who do you want to go first?
Zan, please.
Men subconsciously reject women?
Yeah.
You mean women they're not attracted to, or?
Yeah, just in subcommunication, like whether you ignore us and whether you...
Well, yeah, I mean, like sorry.
Yeah, no.
My whole idea and my whole feeling, my whole philosophy and everything I've tried to understand all these years is that men who have women in their life, by that I mean men who have women who adore them, who just take care of them, who just like them, or that's a good guy, or they hang around them. These men have, you know, qualities and traits that are centuries old. And the same throughout the centuries. And one of those traits is an inviting spirit. In other words, he reaches out his energy. When he meets you, it's like you're the only one in the room. He puts all your attention on you. He's curious about you, interested in you. And then he moves to the next person. And that person is the only one in the room. And everyone can feel that they've been seen. That they've been seen. And they've been noticed, and they've been held with grace in the presence of him. And so that inviting spirit is not something you turn on and off. Like charm is not something you turn on and off. And a lot of men don't understand that. They think, I've seen it so many times where they see a girl that is attracted to them, and then they're all smiles and trying to be interesting and opening lines and be funny. And over the shoulder is a couple girls holding their drinks that they're not attracted to. And it's like they don't exist. It's like those girls don't exist. And that to me is a failing. That's a failing. That's not what a real man does. A real man is engaging to the woman who he's attracted to. And he's also engaging to these two over here and this man over here who's in his presence. Who's acknowledging
everybody.
Exactly, in his realm. and so that his charm is equally radiant to all. And it's a warmth there, and there's an inviting spirit, and it's not needy. It comes from a place of it's a giving spirit, but it's not a supplicating spirit. If that makes sense. It's like to be kind and to have empathy and to be strong in that, and not be needy and kissing everyone's ass. So it's a powerful thing, and I've seen so many guys that like are trying to turn on their charm to this girl because they're attracted to her, and these girls, they don't exist. The ones behind them who are smiling and they wore their best dress. They dressed up. They put the makeup on. They went to each other's house and they did their hair, tried on different outfits to go out and represent themselves and be pretty, and to have and to have guys notice them, and they're unnoticed. And that, to me, that you have to honor that too. You have to honor that too. This pretty girl, or the girl you're attracted to, not necessarily the pretty girl, but the one you're attracted to or you're drawn to, you're equally engaging to the others. And like, if you don't have that quality, you're only 10% there. In my mind, you're only 10% of strength.
I mean, what I've noticed is, obviously, what Brian teaches, a lot of men live in their heads. So what I've noticed is, they go in for the approach, they go in for the kill, and they're not feeling, the room, feeling the band, feeling the music, and us women, we love men who feel everything. So Brian, sorry, I'll just finish my thought. Yes.
At the same time, you want men who feel everything. In other words, they have grace and empathy, but they're not touchy-feely, weepy, following you around. There's a big difference. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, that's super true. Not touchy-feely, weepy. It's
Oh, we like touchy-feely.
What was that?
We like touchy-feely, really.
Well, I think the type of touchy-feely he was referring to is
I know.
Different, yeah.
Not the one on the bus.
Really, where he's begging, like, please like me back.
Holding my ankles.
Holding your ankles?
Yeah. Please don't leave me.
Okay, got it. Got a weird picture in my head for a second. So you were asking about subcommunication.
Yeah.
And how did you phrase that question? Or do you want me to...
It was, can you talk about how men reject women unconsciously without realizing it, like through subcommunication, and how much does that play in seducing a woman?
Well, it's huge, because men are designed to seduce women by nature. We're masculine, they're feminine. If we're truly masculine, you're designed to, as a man, to attract women. That's just the way it is. And if you're not attracting women, then I personally believe that's a product of modern society and programming. Because if you took away all your fear and all your fear of women and all your stories about women, matter of fact, if you didn't even know women existed, you lived alone your whole life, and you see this beautiful creature for the first time, you have no stories about it being mean or rejecting or abuse, you'd be like, wow, who are you? You just get so excited, and this playful, like, excitement and exuberance would light a woman up, just like it just did. And there would be this life that comes out of a man, and we shut that down. We shut all that down in modern society, and we shut down all subcommunication that goes with it, and we subtly reject women. And so as you start learning what Zan's talking about, which is enjoying women again, and really enjoying them, not just trying to be selective about which ones you're going to enjoy, because that'll just shoot you in the foot. You're going to start to realize that you have it in you to polarize and be attracted to women. You've always had it in you. You just got to surrender all your fears, and then that comes across in micro expressions and your touch. I mean, as a woman, you've probably noticed when a guy touches you and he's scared, and you can feel the energy pulling away from you.
Oh yeah.
Or when a guy's comfortable and enjoying you, and you can feel that the energy coming in and through you.
Or I just grab his hand and put it back.
Yeah, and pull it. when he's touching you and you like it, you're talking about?
And then he pulls away in kind of nervousness. So I'll just grab it and put it back and say, it's okay.
Mothering and protecting?
I know.
Or are you actually attracted to him?
I'm attracted to everyone.
Well, that's a problem. A lot of guys must like you then. No, being attracted to everyone and being sexually attracted to everyone turned on is a story, isn't it? I mean, it's also attracted to enjoy everyone. And I think the female nature when somebody is scared is oftentimes to be protective. But unless the guy is like on that verge of he's trying to hit on her scared, then it might be to push away. It's one of the two, right? But when a man's subcommunication is on, when he's just enjoying it, and he's just witnessing it, and he's just like people, and he's in his masculine all at the same time, the subcommunication, the voice tone, the touch, the way he looks at you, the way he looks into you, the way all has a different effect, and you don't have to worry so much about the words. Now, poetic words mixed with powerful subcommunication can be powerful at that point. You know, beautiful words, but if you don't have the right subcommunication, you know, beautiful words just sound weird. And so hopefully that answered your question.
It did. Another question I have for you, and we'll start with Brian, is again on subcommunication. What behaviors that you see men do that destroy attraction?
It's a lot. I call them the 1%. It's a lot of little things. So instead of looking into her and enjoying her, he pulls his head back a little, or off to the side and back, and looks down at her because he's trying to pull his in, and you can feel he's almost trying to pull backwards away from her rather than enjoying her. Not allowing himself to feel his own turn on when he looks at her. You know, that is felt. So he's almost like neutered down in the lower part of his body where you'd feel turn on. He's numbed it all out while he's looking at her. Like, I'm going to be proper. I'm going to be this. When he walks up to a woman and says something, a lot of times his voice starts raising and starts going, "Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you." You know, and that has an effect. Another one is there's tons of them. I mean, I could go on for hours probably just listing them, but another one would be the way he doesn't get too close to her. He stays at a distance, too far of a distance. So he's like, "Hi," and maybe he'll shake her hand and then pull back, and then, or constantly darting his eyes away from her, looking away all the time at everybody else because he's really scared of the tension of letting her see him. And all these little things, he doesn't even realize he's doing it. And when we put you on video or do a demonstration, like I want to do maybe a little demo of this on stage, you'll see at the event, you'll see all the ways these guys tell women, "No, I'm unavailable for you," or "I'm not good enough for you," or "You wouldn't want me." And might be a really handsome guy too. Sometimes it blows my mind. And then you'll see this little guy come up, not technically, not by standards, all right. And the women are like, "Ooh, who are you?" Because he's like right in there and he's enjoying himself and he's enjoying her and he's witnessing her. And it's beautiful. So there's tons of them. I mean, through high def video, you can see a lot of them going on. It's pretty interesting. And in a good movie scene, like I love Vicky Cristina Barcelona, to see the artistry of this actors really nailing all this stuff. That's why it's a really good movie scene, not a B movie. Like a really good scene where Javier Bardem approaches the two women in the restaurant and he just holds that tension and he just stays in it. And he's just unapologetic about his enjoyment of these two women, and he's poetic in his speech, and it's beautiful to watch. So,
Zan, I have a question for you. So, brilliant, fabulous. There's a lot of marketing people out there that insist that there's like 8 words that you can say to a female in order to seduce her. Is there such a line? I know we've touched on it a little bit more, but I do love the way that you talk about women. So please, could you elaborate?
You mean the words that
Yeah. So is there a trick to,
No.
or a particular line or
Come and
conversation?
look at my yacht. Is that 8 words?
How big is your yacht?
Just kidding.
And do you have a mast?
Exactly. No, I like what guys don't understand in this generation for sure is that it's what the things what Brian just talked about, and what we've been trying to understand for ourselves and to share with others. Because it sounds like, yeah, okay, well, whatever, but I get it and I want that, but I want some quick fix this weekend instead. It has nothing to do with the words you say at all. It has everything to do with this is cliche to sound, but I'll explain it. It's like the way you make her feel. And by that, I mean, it's the vibration of your voice. It's the vibration of the rhythm of the way you look at her. It's the vibration of your smile, and it's all a felt thing. In fact, there are many times when for instance, in my life, where I've communicated with a girl standing next to me, for instance, in a bar, and didn't say a word. If guys really, here's something very practical for you guys. If you want to understand what it means to get out of your head and into your body, in a very practical way, then this is what I want. Then do this. I want you to do this. Compliment a woman on her dress without saying a word. How would you do that? How would you let a woman know hey, I like the dress you're wearing? How would you do that without saying one word? You can only do it through subcommunication, through the energy of your eyes, your smile, the way you tilt your head, etc. And it's a natural thing when you're struggling to try and find the words without saying words. It's very practical. And
actually, that's more flattering for a female too, to actually be an approach through eye contact and feeling than actual words.
Like if guys would just practice that, like how would I communicate to this girl that I like her lipstick, or I like her shoes, or the way she dances, without saying a word? Can they do that? And guys like, because that's where you go. That's where it has to go. Because once you can do that, then it doesn't matter. Then the best opening line is, "Hi, what's your name?" It's beautiful. It's a powerful thing there, because it comes from, and it doesn't mean you're confident, you have a bunch of stories to say, or a bunch of rattling off things and fast talking. You could be very quiet in your energy. But there's a I don't know, it doesn't have to be a bunch of talking. In fact, it shouldn't be a bunch of talking. I think talking can only mess it up for you. That's another subject.
Brian, do you have any words? Do you have any advice? Do you have any lines? What's your theories on that?
I think it's a great idea to go out and do that. I kind of want to go do that now. Let's go out and the idea in my head that came up was, how can I go meet some women saying as little as humanly possible?
Powerful.
Yeah.
If you do it consciously, so you cannot say it, but you want to consciously say something, not just stand there and like staring at her, but actually try and communicate something very specific, like not just like, "You're so pretty," but specific, like, "I like the dress that you're wearing, and it looks great on you." How could you say that with your demeanor and your eyes? Beautiful. What a shift that is for men if they would just do something like that.
I think it's super powerful. There was somebody that once said one of the things he liked to do was he would walk up to women in a bar or any place, and he would just say hi, and then he would see how he wouldn't say another word after that. He would try to do it all. Everything after that was subcommunication until they spoke back to him. So he would just wait.
That's pretty much me. I got to do a lot of talking. Hello, hi. You're cute. Your friend's cute. Hello.
And the thing that
that's all I say.
I have a question for you, Zan, that just came up because of this topic. Is you are very poetic with your words. You have powerful sentences, and the way you string words together is so beautiful. And I can see that that's largely due to your words are powerful, but also your energy is powerful. So when you do string some beautiful words together, it's because of who you're being that those words have such an impact. Because I also believe that if a guy did the same thing and didn't have the energy, it would actually work against them. You're an artist with words, but really, for you, it's not about the words. It's the words are the words born out of the way you feel?
I'll tell you something that people don't understand about me, and it's a great paradox of me, is that when I talk to women, girls, I'm very non-poetic. To me, it's fun. I'm having fun. I say little. I smile. I joke. I'm not. I don't string together poetic words to get her into some kind of flow. Not even she's coming to my bed. Like, to me, it's like, let's come with me. Are you my girl? Let's go. Can you feel that energy? I can. And it's like, and so my poetic words, because I'm very much in love with words. You know what it is? It's like I use the poetic descriptions to try and describe the feeling of a man who has an adoration for women and what their female energy and grace gives to him. So I describe it because I'm trying to, as you know, Brian, I'm not trying to go ABC technique in what I try and write about. I'm trying to write an expression of vibration and energy, and the only way you can do that is in poetic words, so that you can feel the rhythm and flow. Each sentence of you in my book, like, it took me 10 years to write, because the way it's written had to match what it's trying to say. I could just like put 100 pages and just put information. And my book is very redundant and very curly-cued and circular and extravagant. And some editors would say that's ridiculous, cut 100 pages off, because it's like but it has to have that hypnotic rhythm that is a man and a woman connecting. And so, but when I'm actually talking to women in various places, I'm very just like lighthearted and on my feet, and hey, and I don't do a lot of deep penetrative conversation. Truth.
Can I ask you whether you actually care about the results? Because I think within Brian's practice, we're trying to get the ego diminished and then to feel. And a lot of men who approach women care about the results, getting the telephone numbers. When you approach women, do you care whether they go to bed with you or not, or do you just want to love talking to them?
Oh, I'm pretty much I'm a horn dog. Okay, what can I say? I like women. I like women, the shape of women. However, it's interesting because I just had a call with a group of guys the other day, and we talked about this concept of storytelling. And when and the guys were saying that they would tell stories about their previous life or stories they had to get sympathy from the woman. In other words, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to represent vulnerability to you. So now you have you look at me in a more favorable light. And I'm sitting there on this call. It was like our advanced call for our class. I'm thinking, wait a minute, have I ever done that? I'm a storyteller. I tell lots of stories. I'm an inveterate storyteller, but I don't think there's ever been a time in my life that I think about that I've told a story to represent vulnerability, so she would look at me favorably. Wait a minute. And I thought about it because I was such an insecure kid and insecure in my 20s and stuff like that my stories, instead of trying to make me look vulnerable and will you like me, were more like to try and make me look cool. Like, I'm going to tell you these stories, and so you like me because I represent this cool thing. So it was never about vulnerability. And then there's that type of storytelling, another type of storytelling. And the type of storytelling I do now is I don't really care if they think I'm cool, and I don't care if they think I'm vulnerable. If I tell stories now, it's because I want to engage, and I want to share a laugh and experience with the other person. It has become about them as opposed to about me. Strange. Just like compliments, most compliments from guys are not about the woman at all. They're about me. If I compliment you in your nice dark hair and your blue eyes, I hope you like me better than all the other guys because I said something nice to you. In other words, I hope I get something in return, as opposed to just saying, "Hey, I I like your brown hair and your blue eyes, and I'm a man and you're a woman. I want to say that and let it land. And I would love something in return. The big difference between desire and neediness. Desire is a beautiful thing. It's a powerful thing to say, wow, there's something about you. I'd love to see you. And I'd like to see you again tomorrow. And I'd like to see you every day. I don't know why. There's power in that. That's not needy. You can say, wow, you're the most beautiful girl I've seen in I don't know how long, a year or two. And there's no neediness in that phrase. And even though all the literature out there is you can't compliment a woman because you'll be needy hang around guy, but it comes from a different place. It doesn't come from a place of, I'm going to say you're the most beautiful girl I've seen and I've ever seen, hoping you like me and give me something, give me sex, give me phone number, give me Facebook. Instead, I'm going to say you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I just want to say that because that's who I am.
Because you're authentic.
Because that's how I believe. I'm just stating a truth that I see. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to. I'm not asking for anything in return. I like the way you look. You look like a nice thing. You look like a nice girl. You look like it. And I like there's something about you that draws me. I don't know what it is. And I just want to say that. There's power in that. It's not needy at all.
Thank you. Brian, can you talk about seduction?
What aspect? There's a lot of aspects to seduction.
Well, seduction in women. Seduction, like how, again, I approached Zan with the question about men being in their heads when they approach women, and the marketing hype that's around that with the one-liners. So can you talk about how your practice is, approaches seduction?
I'll say this about seduction, because I think it's important to be said, is you got to get out of your head the idea that you're doing anything to a woman by seducing her. Get out of your head that you're tricking a woman or manipulating a woman. Because seduction, at least the way I see it, is it's a dance. She knows what's going on. And just as much as you're seducing her, she's seducing you, and you're dancing together. And if you're doing it right, there's a rhythm to it, and a back and forth rhythm, flow, just like a dance. Like sometimes a woman, if you don't have a structure and she doesn't push back, you can't dance. But at the same time, you can't feel her structure. And so there's times when she has to move into you, and there's times when she has to move back, and there's a flow in that and rhythm in that. But you're doing the dance together. You both know it's a dance. Yes, you may be leading, and she may be flowing more and being more the art of the dance, but you're still working together. And that's what makes it beautiful. Imagine, as a man, you go out to meet a woman, and there's no seduction. And she just says, okay, and just lays down on the bed and spreads her legs. Maybe if you haven't had sex in years, that might seem great the first few times, but after a while, that's going to get really old. You want the dance. You need that dance. Because that's part of the beauty. It's like men love challenge and women love to be witnessed. And the more she can push on you and have you step into the challenge, she gets to enjoy you stepping into challenge with the indifference to outcome, but still with the desire, the enjoyment. And at the same time, she gets to watch you as you do that. Every time you step through a new challenge without losing your composure, but staying solid or free or open as a man, she gets more turned on. And at the same time, she gets to be witnessed by you throughout the evening. So you're both getting what you need. And what it leads is to, when you finally do end up together, let's say in bed, it's so much better because there's such a deep circulation of tension, energy, and flow together. And the dance is still going on, even in the bed. There's still a rhythm, even in the bed. It's not like you hop in the bed and the rhythm stops. And so if you can't get the rhythm right before the sex, there's not going to be any rhythm. And there's not going to be a rhythm after, and the flow and the dance that goes with that. And so, in my opinion, if it's danced right, in the resolution of that tension in the dance, and at the end of it, when you two end up together, there's so much beauty you've created. And let's say you're together one night and you're never together again, you still have this moment of beauty if it's danced right that you can look back to and remember fondly. If it's danced wrong, or the seduction's not done well and all that stuff, then I think after it's all over, it can be like, or maybe even a potential regret or feeling like you did something wrong. And that's the difference between the two for me. So there you go.
So we've got an event coming up in Bucharest, Romania. The dates are April 22nd to 23rd, and they're with Brian and Zan and Dave. Boys, before we close out, did you guys want to just finish off on, what you're going to teach during that workshop? And obviously the title today is How to Become a Powerfully Masculine and Attractive Man. So what are these boys going to learn on this weekend?
Well, I can talk a little bit if you want first, but the way I see it is I'm going to be talking a lot about, the masculinity aspect and the subcommunication, grounding, and what it is to be a powerfully positive man, as Ann put it earlier, authentically real on a practical level, not on a woo level, but on a practical level where we can show you what's going on. We can show you how you reject women. We can show you different 1% where you get held back. Talk about tension and how you dance in it, how to make tension fun, and how to play with tension so it turns into sexual tension, because we need tension in life. And how most men are avoiding that. See, most men today, and this might fit into your category as a man if you're out there watching this, is most men today are fearful of tension, and they're fearful of sexual tension with women, or they're too nice, and so that the niceness is running away from the tension, like the extreme nice guy. And so the two types of guys I run into is these extreme nice guys that are afraid of tension, so they're always getting rid of the tension. They're always trying to do just the right thing to make it perfect, and if I make it really nice and sweet with no tension, she's going to like me. So that's the way to end up with a good friend, or a girl not attracted to you at all. So if you're experiencing that, this event's going to really help you understand that. And then the other side I see is the guys who come out and they push a lot of tension, but they have no awareness of how much tension they're stepping into. So they just push. They have no awareness. This is too much. He's going too far, too fast. He's not dancing. He's not seducing. He's just trying to get to a goal. And in both cases, we're going to start to show you these where you're going too far with this stuff. We start to teach you how to seduce, teach you how to feel the tension and dance with the tension. And then I look at Zan's piece, which is, Zan's piece is the artistry of it all. Like when you're grounded, and I'll let him talk about this, but when you're grounded, there's that whole piece of witnessing the beauty in a woman, and to the point where, he does it like magic when I've been out with him. The way he lights women up all over the bar, one after another, and they're just smiling and giggling, lighting them up. So can you talk about that for a minute, Zan?
I tell you, I've been doing this for such a long time, conferences and webinars and university speeches and interviews and coaching. And, the only thing I'm interested in talking about these days is the thing I'm trying to learn for myself, which is the greater spirit of what that magnetism really is. So I think if guys come to this, they spend time with us in Bucharest. Bucharest, as you know, Brian, is a coach on it by itself. The city and the energy of the city has its own life that just opens up all kinds of. Anyway, it's its own coach, and the only thing I want to explore, and if the guys come, is to get this information out of our head and stop consuming information. No more information. They can read my book, and they can, they can consume. There's tons of YouTube videos, and to get that information that they've been packing in the head for all these years, and to get it into their heart, so that they finally get it, so that they finally get the feeling that they understand the women, the way that women are interacting with them. In other words, for instance, they understand the ones who are not good for them, who they're trying to hang around, and who are not good women for them and their spirit. So it's going to be very much along the lines of, for me, everything's experiential from this point on. That's it. No more information. And we're going to find out. And if I'm good at anything, I'm good at seeing the way the guy represents himself, shows up when he interacts with women. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. I can see it from the back of my head. I know why she pulls away from him. I know why she leans into him. And I can describe it to the guy in the moment, the day after, or right on the fly. This is how you're representing yourself, and this is why she's the women feel like they're pulling away or being distant. So I don't know. I think it's a powerful thing. Powerful things are starting to happen. Like I said, Brian, I've been doing this for like 15 years, and I'm excited about where it's all going, where I'm going with my understanding, my thoughts, and I'm just like, wow, I feel like I'm just now starting to get it after all these years, and even then, I don't get it.
Yeah, I love what you just said, because it's 100% true. We're done with the days. If you're a guy, out there that's experienced this, we're done with the days of trying to figure out a bunch of techniques and carrying them in our pocket to get women. And if you want to get in shape, you go to the gym, you work out. It's an experiential thing. You don't sit and read about going to the gym. You don't carry notes about going. You actually go to the gym and you experience what it's like to move your body and watch it change. And that's exactly what we're talking about here, is this. You'll start to feel, like as Zan speaks, you'll feel the energy of what it is to be seductive. You'll feel the energy of what it is to polarize a woman. And when you see that for real, it's very different than just talking about it. And I think that's the big difference. And there'll definitely be women at the workshop. So there'll be a lot of opportunities to learn from those experiences. Exactly. And learning is about realizing. It's about realizing something. Like I said earlier, you have it in your body already. You're male. You're built to do it. You just got to realize that part of you that already knows how to do what we're talking about, and tune into it, like tuning into a radio station. And then you start heading more towards a flow state with it. And there's nothing. And seduction is all about the flow state. It's not about thinking. If any of you have used your analytical mind to seduce women, I'll be very impressed, because I don't know any women that get seduced by a guy being analytical with them. You have to feel it. So
just before we close out and I do the facts and the figures on the event in Bucharest, anything else you both want to say, Zan?
No, I'm good. I think you guys should come. Like, I don't do this very often. Not anymore. I used to do this a lot, but I'm trying to write my second book, and so I'm kind of like hibernating, and I'm staying away from like the public eye a bit more these days, or at least coaching anyway. So yeah, you guys should come.
So just for the facts and figures for the gentlemen out there, the event is in Bucharest, Romania. The dates are the 22nd of April to the 23rd. There's an early bird special at $99, which ends on the 31st of March at midnight. Then the price goes up to $297. So please take advantage of the advance prices. And there's also a VIP package with Zan, Dave, and Brian for a VIP dinner. There's only 10 spots, so please get on and book on the fearlessman.com/Zan. That's fearlessman.com/Zan. And go. I've been to Romania. The women are beautiful. Even just go for the women. Don't go for Zan or Brian.
And Romania, at $99, it's a steal, because Romania is about 25 cents on the US dollar, probably to the euro. So when you come out there, it's like a vacation for a fraction of the price, and the women are super beautiful. The city is amazing, cafe town. So there's cafes and restaurants and people roaming, and perfect weather that time of year. Art, culture, all for a fraction of the cost. And what I would call is probably, and this is why I love going back there, and I go back so many times a year, one of the most amazing cities for exploring this energy that I know of. And Zan's the one that introduced me to it. So if you want to experience something like that, now is the right time, not in the future, not someday, now, because this offer probably won't be around in the future when you decide to do it. And at $99, it's a steal. So I'll see you there. I want to meet you in person. I'm sure Zan would love to meet you in person, and we'll see you there.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.